All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking some time off your busy day to join us tonight. And thanks to Nico and Ben for agreeing to present their healthcare app for us to learn from tonight. So, Nico, we'll start right off.
Okay.
Please tell us about yourself. You and Ben, you first.
Okay. Well, thank you, Lori. Hello, healthcare heroes and guests. I don't know where you're coming from, but hello, everyone. I was planning to skip my intro really for later because I don't know, like if you're on LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, and just as a disclaimer, there's really nothing special there. I'm saying this to inspire everyone that you can actually build an app as simple as the one we did if you're just really passionate or like you're patient and persistent. So I'll skip that for now. But I would like to start with an icebreaker instead. So I have one question for everyone, and you can answer by responding to. Oh, do we have like a chat option here? Oh, yes. Either through chat or saying it out loud. So my question is, what do heroes have in common? You can either respond or say something.
Anyone, don't be shy. Feel free to unmute and
They don't give up. Yes, that's really nice. We care about people. Trying new things. They help people. They help solve problems. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for responding. And these are all great answers. I actually also asked ChatGPT, what do heroes have in common? And the answers were courage, selflessness, perseverance, compassion, leadership, resilience. And these are all great traits. And I see those to all of our healthcare heroes. But another thing that I would like to add is that all heroes should have the right resources and tools to achieve their goals effectively and efficiently. And that's how this app was conceived to help our healthcare heroes, especially in the anesthesia department. So to give you a bit of a backstory, it was a year after COVID started, and I was also new to my role as a Salesforce business analyst. And one night, my husband came home from his job at the hospital exhausted. And he shared with me his frustrations. And he's actually here to share more of like the why behind the app before we go over how we built it. So, Babs, you can share something or say something.
Guys, or should I say heroes? Just a little bit of background about me. I have been working as a medical technician field in the hospital. It's called anesthesia tech, and I've been working in that field for over 10 years now, starting in 2012 when I was in the military until just recently. I just left that career field because I just received my my bachelor's degree in nursing. So I'm off to start a new path in the healthcare field. But more about why the app was made. Well, for those of you who work in the medical field or in the hospital, you know that the nurses, the doctors, the techs, we deal with a million supplies. And as medicine evolves each day, so does those supply, and so does the knowledge to learn them. And so working in our department, it's especially if you're new as an anesthesia tech, it's really hard for you to provide healthcare when you don't know the supplies that you're working with. And that was one of the problems, or that was one of the reasons why I created the app. It's just a simple supply finder app. So I'm about to show in a bit on what the app looks like. But basically, my goal was to make patient care more efficient for our group, for our department. And basically, if our efficiency is improved, then our patient care will be improved. And that's really important when you're working in a healthcare field. And so I told my boss about it, and I was kind of scared because my only focus was for my group, for the anesthesia techs, but he loved it so much that he actually, after he gave me the floor to introduce it to my coworkers, he actually talked to his bosses about it, which are the VPs of the hospital, and they liked the idea, so they wanted me to demo it to them. And so I did demo it to them, and they liked it. So it's kind of a long process, but after I demoed it to them, they also liked it. Most of their questions was like, is there going to be patient, if you're in the healthcare field, you'd get this, but most of their questions were like, is there going to be patient information in this, and can we not do that, or how is the hospital going to make more money with this app? But my thought initially was just for my department to be more efficient with the patients. But eventually they did like it, and they want me to explain it more or give more demos to each department, because each department has their own ecosystem. I would call ecosystem, and they would use this app differently than other departments. And like the first department that I introduced it to was the OR department. They immediately liked it, and they wanted to implement it right away in their department. But we had to wait because the VPs wanted me to give demos to each department. They wanted to make sure that all the departments agreed to the app. And so we're still on that process. But our department, the anesthesia department, is still using the app currently, up until now. So just to show you just a little bit of what the app looks like, I'm gonna ask the hosts if I can share my screen.
Do
so
you need?
exactly what the app looks like. Just a simple app finder. Hang on, let me. Is it broadcasting?
Yeah.
Okay. So
If you
How
can
can you remove my face? There you go.
that everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So so I have 4 categories here, but for now, let's just focus on the one category that's important for us, which is the supplies. These are all the supplies that we work with. These, not all, I'm sorry. These are the supplies that are rare to find or hard to find. So there are more supplies than this. Like I said, we work with millions, but most of the supplies are easy to find. These are just the supplies that we have a hard time on finding. So how the app works is you search for the supply on the search bar, and let's say if we wanted to search for an adult underbody, the tech would be able to see a description of what the app would look like, a picture of what it would look like, especially for the newcomers. This is really helpful for them because it not only shows you a picture, it shows you a description, and it actually also shows you a location. And the description is actually where you can use or which procedure you can use this supply with. And when I introduced this to our teammates, they were really excited to use this app. And up until now, they are still using the app in our department. It's just the other departments in the hospital that are waiting for the VPs of the hospital to give the go signal to actually implement it. And that's where all the technicals will come in, where the hospital would have to talk, because the hospital does or is using, they do have their own app, but it's not as technical as Salesforce, or it's not as good as Salesforce, as I should say. But that's just a simple of how the app would look like on what we are currently using and what we are still using in our department. I'm sorry, let me end the share real quick, sorry. And right now, as I said, I just graduated and I just got my degree in nursing. And my plan with my wife is to actually create a new app for in the new department that I'll be hopefully working in for new graduate nurses. And hopefully they'll be able to do patient care more efficiently, because most of the people in the hospital don't know that this is possible. They're only used to what they have in the hospital, and this is more efficient basically on what we've been doing, rather than what we've been using in the past. So that's my quick introduction. I'm gonna give the floor back to Nico or to Lori, but that's just how the app is right now in my department. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So yeah, that's more of like the why behind the app. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen to quickly show you more of like the back end, how it was done. Let's see. I'm also curious to know if anyone here who's joining is either admin certified or you're learning through Trailhead. You can either like raise your hand or just show of hands.
Nico, could you increase the size
Sure.
to like, I don't know, 120?
1 second.
My eyes are aging. Press beyond, yeah.
Getting increase more than this. Is that better?
What do you think?
Is it better?
Can we increase a little bit more
More?
the size of the fonts? There. That's good. That's good.
You're on my screen, but okay, that's fine. Well, congratulations everyone who has their admin cert or platform app builder. Oh, great. Jamie, learning, working towards admin. Awesome. So I guess if you've come across like the Trailhead, you're very familiar already with, like going to the setup and seeing this one, right? Like the home page, oops, let me just remove this chat, home and object manager. So when I heard the requirements from Ben, I heard that, so initially I was thinking of security. That was the first priority because it was a hospital setting. And so I wanted to make sure that this app can only be accessed within the hospital's IP range. So in order to do that, made sure like from your profiles here, if we go to, let's say, oops, trying to remove this. Sorry. Like the system admins, even the system admins can only access the app through the approved IP ranges. So you can do that from the login IP ranges. So I added all of the approved IP ranges here. And also what the other requirement that I heard from him was that his teammates don't really need edit access to all of the objects. So I created a profile for read-only access, so they can just only read, but they have access to Chatter. So if they have questions, they can post it there and even respond to like announcements that they do in Chatter. So that was like the #1 priority, like thinking of security for them. And then as I was also listening to the requirements, I thought most of the standard objects in Salesforce does not really like fulfill what they were looking for. So I just decided, okay, let me just create like a custom app and custom objects for them. So to do that, if you've gone through Trailhead again, or if you've studied the admin or platform app builder, this is very familiar for you. You go to the app manager and you create a new Lightning app here. So the one we created was called Finder. And then from here, this is where you can change the branding. Like for us, we uploaded an image, and then I just wanted it to be really simple for them because it's their first time using a Salesforce app. So navigation style was standard. And I didn't add any utilities, the navigation items. So all of the standard objects that are already in Salesforce, I kind of remove them as they don't need it for now. And later I'm going to go over this different custom objects, but I did hear from one of his requirements that they do need to communicate through the app. So I included chatter there. And I made this, again, available to the 3 profiles, the system admin, the read-only access, and then their lead tech who can do some edits like updates on like supplies and like the different how-to guides that they have, and even like phone numbers that they have. So that is that. And then if you notice earlier, there were also like cute icons for each of the objects. So how I did that was just going to tabs and just selecting, you know, like the different tab styles that is already built in on Salesforce. So to give some, I don't know, creative UI. So going to the custom objects. So right now they have access to 3 objects. If we go to the schema builder, those 3 objects are right now really not connected to each other. So it's supply is separate from how-to guides, and then the phone numbers and within the hospital is also separate. This is like really simple added fields from here. There's like, you know, the standard text field, and then there's the rich text field so that they can add the images from the supply record. And same with how-to guides, also like text and rich text area where they can add pictures or special characters there. And what else? I think that was about it. Like just the security, as much as possible, being concerned with also, or being mindful of like the user interface of the app. And then also really knowing your users, if they're first time with Salesforce or even like using an app. So make it as simple as possible. That way, once they log in, they see what they need to see and they can search what they need to search. And so, yeah, that's more of like the healthcare app. I don't know if anyone has any questions or violent reactions or any thoughts. Please feel free to say something.
Feel free to unmute yourselves and ask questions. I do have a question.
Okay.
You know, those objects, I noticed that there was no relations. Is that, did I catch that correctly? Okay.
Yes, correct. Okay, sorry.
I don't know if Ben would like to, or even you, if you could go through the detail pages again and just show us again how it looks like, or maybe even it, because you don't have lookups. how does the how-to guide, let's say the how-to tab?
Oh, you mean the different
Look
tabs?
like?
I can show them.
Yeah.
real quick.
Yes, please.
Let me see. Am I still sharing?
Not yet.
No.
It's
I need to stop
Nicholei sharing.
What?
Yeah, you can share now. I was looking at if there were any questions on the chat, but you can share.
Oh,
now.
okay. Yeah, so let me just explain. I thought I wouldn't have time to explain the different tabs, but so we talked about the supply tab, but the how-to guide, this is just a few I'm still adding stuff to it, but basically it's procedures, like how to For example, how to set up a jet ventilator. For us, a jet ventilator is a machine that helps the patient get more oxygen. So it's just a simple how-to guide and how to set it up, how to set the device up. Most of them really enjoy, or they find it really helpful for to have this tab on the app. One of the more important how-to guide is how to set up a pediatric poll. If there is a trauma pediatric, like a child that comes into the hospital, Inova Hospital is one of the biggest hospital in Northern Virginia, and it's a trauma 1 hospital, which means all the emergency cases go to Inova. So if there was a trauma that involves a child, we would have to set up for, and they would need a surgery. They would need this setup in the OR room, which is a pediatric code poll. So I actually put this in there because it's one of the more important setups that we actually need to know how to do it. And so it just explains how it looks, what supplies are needed on the poll. And these are just, if you haven't had experience in the medical field, this might not look familiar. This stuff might not look familiar, but these are just how to make it and what supplies are needed. So it's just a simple how to guides for some of the more traumatic situations, or just a simple setup for patients who need more oxygen, like the jet ventilator. Now the numbers is, I thought about, me and my wife thought about adding this because because we do deal with a lot of phone numbers in the hospitals. The hospitals have a lot of departments that we need to call whenever we want something done. Like for each specific situations, we need to call someone. For example, if we want a medication, we need to call the pharmacy, and there's like 3 pharmacies in the hospital with specific departments that we have to call just in case we are in a different department. And so, for example, if we were to go back and just search for like CVOR pharmacy, it would just pop up, and we would see the numbers right away. And that way, we were able to we wouldn't have to memorize all the numbers, basically. And so these are just the simple, and the chatter, my wife already talked about it. If my boss wanted to, because we do, just like in the tech field or in the Salesforce, where everybody has to have their certificates updated and have to do certifications. It's the same in the hospital. In order for you to keep working in the hospital, there needs to be a yearly like a lesson or certifications that you have to do. And if we're late on that, there's a chance that you're not allowed to work in the hospital. So our boss would use chatter to either give an announcement or just a simple like where a device is currently and all that. And what's good about that this app is it gives a notification, unless you turn it off, but it gives notification right away. And we added the chatter app because most of my colleagues and coworkers do not check their emails, and having this option in the app really helped, and my boss really liked it because he can communicate with the techs using the app, and which is just really helpful for us. And so those are just the different tabs that I put on the app. As you can see, it's just a simple app, and each department, like I said, can configure their app the way they want it to, and how they would want their department to function using the app. So I'll give it back to Mari.
That is really, really impressive. So one question in the chat was asked by Mary. How long did it take you, Nicho, to build this app?
So, okay. I think since I was like kind of new to Salesforce at that time, overnight, I believe, like trying to, if I forgot something, like where do I configure this? I would, search Google, my best friend. And then, but I feel like, yeah, anyone can do it in 10 minutes or less. Once you're really familiar, once you, gone through like the certs and everything is just fresh in your mind.
But that's the app itself. The
Yes,
the actual content, like
the
the
foundation.
rich text editor, the pictures and whatnot.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that take time. Okay, Conrad has a question too. Is your interface only for smartphone? Is there any consideration for tablets or desktop interface?
Yeah, so for this one, so the initial requirement was just for it to be really readable on a smartphone because texts are always on the go. They really don't have like a dedicated, correct me if I'm wrong, Babs, you don't have, or you do have a dedicated workstation or computer, but they're always up and running. And so the smartphone is what they bring with them. But yes, it can be, I know like Salesforce is making some improvements to make like the Salesforce app more user-friendly in tablets, and yes, as well as desktop, they can access it as well. Hopefully I
Yeah, I think it's more useful anyway when it's on our cell phones, especially if you're running to a place. Where is it? Where is it? Check your phone.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another question, but before I ask Rosna's question, I actually asked Nico before about, because this is not an approved app yet. Like, it's not really an app that's being used by the hospital per se. This is just being used by Ben and his coworkers to make their work more efficient. So my question to Nico before this presentation was, because as you know, in a dev org, you can only have 2 active users. So I was like, so how did you approach this if more than Ben are using this app? So go ahead and answer.
Yeah, so yeah, in order to avoid any drastic changes on the app, that's why we also agreed to make the other user as read-only. That way they can't make any changes. They just go there and search what they need to search and read it. And then they're sharing they're sharing a login basically with that
Username and
read-only.
password.
Yes. I think it could lead to the next question from Rosna. How did you train your teammates? So I'll give it back to Ben.
Okay. That's actually a good question because those were one of the questions that that came to us when we were actually making the app, like how would we train? And it was more on like a team huddle thing where a presentation where I had to show them basic how Nico showed me how to use the app. I had to show them how to use the app, and it was basically simple. It's just it was just a presentation on, it's like you're looking for the device yourself instead of asking leadership. Why not just ask the app? Just click on the search bar and type, because one good thing about the app is you can type one word that describes the item and it'll actually show up. And like if like let me just show I don't know, can I show it real quick? for the for screen, which is really amazing about the app. Like if I were to type, like if I were looking for like a bear hugger, it's like it's what we use in the hearts department. It's a specific bear hugger that's rare to when you're trying to look for it. And if I just type hugger, or let me see if no, I think that's a specific But if I were to type for A line, if I wanted to set up an A line and we needed a guide wire, all you have to do was just type what you wanted to know, like an A line for the guide wire. And see, it's a different than what the supply is, but I just type A line and it'd show you what supplies are connected to setting up if you're trying to set up an A line procedure. So like a guide wire would be used for those who are in the medical field. It is used for central line or an A line. You need a guide wire to align it with the vein or with the artery. But just as simple as that, you can type a description of a description of the supply that you're trying to look for. And what's good about the app is it can look for it. So I did teach my teammates on how to do it or to search for a supply like that. And that's another thing that was really helpful for them. So yeah.
Thank you.
We have another question about how you set up you set up the location for the product. This is a question from Anusha. Did I say that right? All right.
Yes. So how I set up the location is not as complicated as you think. Working in the department for more than 3 years now, I actually know where each supply is. So I had to type in the app the specific location on where that device is. And I would have to put like keywords on specific, like it's going to be in this room, in this, in this wired rack, and in this bin. Basically, that's how specific I had to be for them to know where that device is, or where that supply is. So it's just as simple as writing a description on where that supply is located.
Yeah, it's basically more of like an extension of a human rather than like memorizing it or like keeping it in your mind. And for the newcomers also, like, okay, where do I find this again? It's better to refer to the app rather than keeping on remembering or even like writing down, because it may get lost.
So if let's say the bear hugger was used and it's used in OR number something, and then let's just say that you have one bear hugger for like 3 rooms, and you have to like, okay, well, let's use it here, and then after that it will go back to where it's usually kept and then might be used again in a different room next time. How do you keep track of that?
So that's actually one thing that's not on the app, but me, my boss, and his bosses would talk about it because it's actually a big thing in the hospital to keep track of equipments. Not more on supply, because supplies you can find it anywhere, but this is more on the equipment side. Right now, they're actually planning on using RFID, I think is what they're using. But after they heard about this app and like saying where the putting the location where the app is, they were actually interested in using this app instead of the RFID, even because the RFID do cost a lot. I think according to the discussion, RFIDs cost more than using this app. But yes, with regards to equipment, that is a problem that they are talking about, like knowing where the equipment is. Not only that, but looking for that or being able to detect where that equipment is when it's being sent to a different department or just misplacing it, basically. And because a lot of supplies do get lost and equipments do get lost in the hospital, especially in a big one like Innova.
Maybe future enhancement can be like an addition of a field where somebody can sign off an equipment and then another field for when it's returned, like date for when it was borrowed, when it was returned, who did so.
Those are great ideas.
Like a library, Lori.
What's that?
Like a library.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I also
Okay.
wanted to point out that, like, in an agile environment, I know it's like a buzzword, whatever, but it's usually like, I guess like the mindset should be that you crawl, you walk, and you run. So sometimes, you have to, either if you're a consultant or an admin, you have to kind of, in a way, contain the excitement of your clients that, okay, we want to do this, we want to do that and that, but sometimes you need to get things rolling, So the MVP, minimum viable
Minimum
product,
viable.
or
Yeah.
lovable product, as long as you can achieve that first and then add on to it like enhancements, and because once they see it, then new ideas come, like, oh yeah, we do want to do this and that and that. So just wanted to share that.
Yes. And that's where agile methodology comes in. So Hernan has another question here. Did you use the free 10 license NPSP to build this app, or are you planning to?
Oh, okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. No, I did not, but I've only used NPSP like for, I don't know, a month when I was volunteering for a nonprofit. I'm not very familiar with like the different features. I know like it can be configured differently, but we can look into that. Actually, thank you for the
Yeah,
suggestion.
that was a great idea. So just to repeat, this was built on a dev org, a regular dev org. All right. So there's your answer, Kristen. Did you face any challenges with Salesforce licenses? There's no license yet. Yeah. um,
Yeah, actually, like another challenge that we are facing is like how to move it to the next level. Now that we have this more of like prototype and people are actually using it, we are not, or me, myself, like I'm not very familiar like how the next steps are. I think I am now part of a consulting firm which is focused on financial services, and they're thinking of doing health, life, and sciences, I think. Is that it is industry?
Yeah.
So I may need some guidance to that, because again, like I'm not the type of person who likes to talk to account executives and all those, business talks and pricing and stuff. So yeah, I guess that's where either a consulting firm or someone who has more experience would come in.
Could you use a GPS tracker? Van, I think that will only be applicable to the field level service. I'm not sure. I don't use that, but
Put a
I don't think
tracker
it
on
can
each
be-
equipment.
I think the RFID will do that job, but expensive. Like
Yeah, I
this.
think like with field service, they have like, I don't know. I just read about, like Salesforce maps, how you can,
Right.
the use case would be you can track drivers where they are, if they're, like
But that would be outside of the
DoorDash
hospital.
or something. But yeah, that would be cool. But again, it's gonna be an enhancement, and enhancements also cost some money.
All right. Any other questions from the audience? Feel free to unmute. Ask away.
I have a question for Ben.
ahead.
I just wanted to know how the data input was, like how it went, like because I'm sure because there's like pictures and like text, and you can't just put it all in there. You have to format it in a way that it's easier, so like when a new person comes in, you could easily glance on it and you know what to do. So I'm just curious about that process.
So again, it's not as complicated as it looks. It is just as simple as taking a picture. I did it all by myself, that taking a picture part, putting it. So what my wife did was actually create and build the functions of the app. What's inside the app, I had to do it all by myself. And that's where the leadership access comes in, because they too would also be able to edit if there was any changes in the supplies or the equipments. They would be able to change it themselves. I asked my wife to give leadership access to the app, so they themselves can actually take a picture themselves or edit the picture themselves if there were any changes. But at the beginning, yes, it was me that took all the pictures and actually edited all the descriptions and the locations of it.
Yeah, we considered using data loader or like import, or what's that called, dataloader.io, but they didn't have the data readily available, so they would have to go into the room and actually like open the app, and then from that rich text, like take a picture and then enter the information. So yeah, that was actually painful.
You haven't reached the storage limit.
We have-
That's a usual.
There are more
That's a
things,
usual problem.
but we have reached the storage limit, and most of these supplies you can't just Google it. They're actually specific for each hospital. Like so some of the supplies only this hospital use it. Depending on what brand it is, they may have the same function in other hospital, but like some of the supplies that I put in the app, only this hospital uses it. So it's actually more on a personal type of like each department. Like I said, each department can configure it the way how they want it to. So
Yeah, when I first saw this app demoed, that was last year actually, before I started working for Booz. And I was blown away. And all I could think of at the time was, geez, I wish I was still working in the hospital. I would try to create my own version of, because we had problems too with equipment, like because I worked in a small hospital. The last time I was working as a nurse, it's a very small community hospital. Very few equipment that's being shared in between departments. So the main issue was who last borrowed it and where is it now. So yeah, we needed a way to keep track of that. And if you've worked with several doctors who were doing, let's say a procedure that's done inside the room, and then you will just prepare the things on a table, on a sterile table, and usually they want a certain, even though there's a protocol for each procedure, some of the doctors would have their own preferences. Let's say they want extra 5 of the 10cc saline or some additional or whatever size of gown. Let's say they're super tall. So those are the things that can be specified, and you can create like a documentation for that, like pretty much like how Ben has for the supplies. You can also create maybe an object for doctor preference for, and then a related procedure, let's say. So those are the things that you can do. I'm sorry.
It's interesting that you brought that up, but because when I demoed this to the VPs, those are actually the things that they wanted. They wanted doctor preferences in the app, where if you just click on the name of the doctor, it would show you like what their specifics, like the stuff that they want in the procedure, like the gloves, the gown, the instruments that they want in the procedure, and it would all be ready in the app. And it will make the work more efficient, because you would have to, even though leadership is still there to help you, you could just look it up, and you don't need leadership to actually check your work, because the app is there to help you instead of relying on leadership all the time. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Any more
also
questions?
just like,
Yeah,
oh, sorry, Laurie.
go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about onboarding too. I mean, I would think that it'll be a bit easier for people, because then you have the app, like you said, Ben. Like there's the app to help guide you through everything. Because I know every hospital is different. Every hospital has their own procedure. which one to go first, second, third, but at least there's the guide, and then anybody who comes in can adjust what they learned from previous experiences, or if they're new to the field, then kind of like absorb what the hospital is actually doing.
And one more, so there's another app that I was dreaming of creating if I was not hired right away. I wanted to keep track of the certifications of the staff, and then an automated reminder, so that because our manager in our small hospital, we were still paper charting. The only electronic we were doing at the time was the medications and some labs, but nothing was talking to each other anyway. So yeah, recently, as you know, like AHA, they would now email you, etc., but not all certifications that you need are being kept track of. So I wanted a way, not just for me to remind myself manually on my calendar that, okay, 2 months before this expires, I should sign up for an in-house training for this, or, so that was something that I was thinking that would be a good thing also to keep track of and make an app for, not only for myself, but also for all of, let's say, all of the RNs in this department versus that department. Because like the ER, they have different certifications that they needed. And in med-surg, it's different also. So it varies where the nurse is located, what certifications are required. So those can be also configured and be very specific for them, right? So ideas while you're there.
Yeah. I guess this was more of like the point of this, like demo, to inspire others, and especially if you've been in the healthcare field. So yesterday I joined my first Salesforce DC World Tour, and I met some of the amazing Golden Hoodie awardees, and like was asking them tips on how you can, like grow your skills and stuff, and or how you got into the role. And I don't know if anyone has been connected to David Nasa. He's with Salesforce Military, and he's with Salesforce. So the tip that he shared, and I wanted to share with you all, is that like recruiters or employers are looking for either industry knowledge, technical savvy, or being really a good communicator. And it's not just about talking, but also listening. So I just want to encourage everyone that if you've been in the medical field, you have the edge because you have the industry knowledge. And it's just for you to combine the skills that you've learned through Trailhead or going through trainings, marry that together, and you're going to be the best.
The unicorn.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else has question? Feel free to ask now. We only
I think Natalie had a
9.
question. I think you missed Natalie's question
Did I
about
miss?
how much.
Did I miss her question?
Yeah, it was
I
about how
have to
much
go back.
Nicholei charges Ben. What's your going rate?
Oh, I
Get it.
just wanted to give a shout out to Natalie. Actually, Natalie, I think last year I asked a question on the Philippine Next LinkedIn group, and you answered it. So you're also part of this app. So thank you for being available and for your knowledge.
Wow, you guys have really inspired me, honestly. Like, as simple as it is. And Laura, you're always your brain. I just look at you and I know you're already thinking of an app like about something. So it's really impressive. And Ben, I was just curious too, like, are you guys gonna like, is this something that you guys can sell? I mean, to the hospital, because I'm hoping you guys benefit from some of this, like financially, because if the whole hospital is going to use it, is it they're going to invest in Salesforce? That's what I was curious about. Or you're gonna host it? I was just curious how that worked. Are they gonna invest in Salesforce, or are you guys hosting it on your own?
Maybe
So
what
that
you can do
question-
is
Okay.
ISB.
Mm.
So that question, we are on that step right now, whether they want to invest it or not. Because right now, the VPs are asking me to have a demo on each department. And basically what they said is if all of them like it, which so far all of them do like it, then they will decide to implement this app in the hospital. But right now, more on like meeting the departments and for them discussing. I didn't know that it was going to be the process was going to be this long, but I guess this is how it is. It's not as simple as if they like it, implement it right away the next day. It's nothing like that. It's a process, especially in a hospital as big as Inova, in the Northern Virginia area. It's one of the biggest hospital, and so they have to think about everything if they do want to implement it in their hospital.
That's really awesome.
I think it can be added to the app exchange as an ISB. I don't know if you wanted to share it for free.
That was an idea from Jade.
Mm-hmm.
I still have to look into that. How to make it an installed, a managed package. Is that what it's called? And sell it, but we'll see. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you, though. Thank you for.
Then I wanted to clarify, when you had the
Yes.
higher ups involved in the decision, was there a representative, like a sales account executive from Salesforce?
No, we did not reach that far. It was more on just me introducing the idea to them that Salesforce can make the hospital's life easier and their patient care improve and their efficiency for the workers in the hospital. But we did not get to the part where we would contact Salesforce. We actually didn't introduce it to them because what we were planning, me and Nicho was planning, was to be the intermediate, because if they do decide to move forward with that, they would have to communicate to us, and then we communicate with the Salesforce. So something like that.
Yeah, I was also advised not to include like the Salesforce account executive first, because sometimes they would oversell things. And especially if they know, oh, this is a big hospital, they're gonna throw everything.
Then
That's
the
where
hospital would
really
be like,
consultants
oh,
come in. Yeah.
expensive.
Because they would want to throw everything, and like I said, you have to know your users first, and you don't want to overwhelm them with all the new changes. So yeah.
Well, that's good that you had Jade's input about it, because I was curious about the process.
I was asking her because she works for Salesforce and she was not biased to share that.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think the NPSP idea was brilliant. You'll have up to 10 licenses
Yeah.
for free. Although, does that require like that you have an NPSP? How does that work? Who's worked with NPSP? Do they actually require you to have like a nonprofit org, like a real nonprofit org?
I think so too. I guess you have to apply for it or something. I just went through like a quick process with it, but I mean, Innova is kind of a nonprofit, although they make profit. They have a .org.
Oh.
So that could be a good option, actually. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not very familiar with NPSP.
maybe time to skill up.
Yep.
They're actually changing it. Like something came out recently about nonprofit cloud, and we're actually I was in a team meeting with a rep just 2 weeks ago, and they are really they announced it, but they're not prepared with all the changes. So my tech lead and architect, they're not getting the resources they need at the moment because it's so new. Like they're like changing a few things, and they're they're actually recommending sticking with NPSP if you use it now, but it's changing right now. Nonprofit Cloud has like new functionality. So something to think about. You might want to like think about if you do NPSP now, it's actually going to change with the Nonprofit Cloud, the new functionality that's coming out. Yeah, so just something to think about. But they still said use it because you can build on it, but it might be rework, it sounds like. Yeah.
Thanks, Natalie.
Sure. Thank you.
Anyone else has question?
Mm.
Okay. Feel free to unmute Shia and ask your question.
Sorry. Yeah, so I know you are, Ben, you said you were demoing this to the other departments, and I get that the app was designed to help, be efficient as far as supplies and how to. I guess my question is, as far as being specific to other departments, are you sticking to just helping them like navigate their supplies, or are you guys trying to, I don't know, add other objects or anything like that that could help that department specifically?
So it would really depend on the department. Like I talked to one of the departments that I talked to is CBOR, which is a hearts department, all procedure, hearts procedure, everything surgical with regards to the heart. And when they heard about the app, they were more concerned on the paperwork wise, not the supplies. They can apply the supplies part with the app, but they were more concerned with, or they wanted to apply the app through how they process paperworks basically in their app, because most of their paperworks are either through printed or they do have how do I explain this, like they want to have a central location for all the paperworks basically. And I told them that Salesforce can do that with their paperwork. It's just a matter of me and my wife meeting with one of leadership from their department and actually going over what they want the app to be, basically. So that's how the process would be for each department that wants to implement this app. We would have to meet with them and talk to their leadership who is proficient with the department and the supplies and the paperwork and the procedures in that department, and input all those stuff that they want into the app, and how they want the app to look like, basically. I don't know if that makes sense. So
No,
Yeah, short answer is it could grow into like more additional enhancements, but yeah, it just started with those 3 objects, but yeah, Salesforce has so many features that I can't keep track of. Some of them are more of like duplicates of like one thing, but then it's just a matter of, yeah, like learning it or making it more easy for like the users to navigate or to use it, what they need to do. I think there's another question. Have you looked into App Exchange for any similar apps? We tried to, but I don't know. I don't think I looked enough, but most of the healthcare related apps are geared towards patient, like managing the patient's information, I should say. Like the demo I saw yesterday for Healthcare Cloud, it's the veteran's journey from calling a VA hotline and making sure that the rep knows next best actions for that call, and then even referring them to the doctor. And yeah, there are some great apps out there created for the veterans, but not for healthcare workers, if I'm
Exactly.
yeah.
Because you don't make money for them. But yeah, but like what Ben said, it makes their work more efficient. So in the end, the patient also benefits from that. There's
Mhm.
just not a direct measure. There's no direct, I don't know how you get what the KPI would be to measure that
Mm.
better efficiency. You know what I mean? Because usually if your patient is like almost dying, you don't know. You can't really ask. I mean, the patient would not know how heroic you were during the time that he was almost dying, and then you saved him. You know, so it's kind of hard to assess. And I believe that like the patient satisfaction is only for outpatient or those who were sent home. I'm not too sure about that, but that's what I gathered. So if you were in a hospital, I don't think they send patient satisfaction survey.
Yeah, but like personally, I think that I know like when you're running a business, you are always concerned with your clients and whatever, like their feedback. But if you're a business who doesn't really care for your employees, that's also a red flag because it's gonna affect your overall performance. And
Is it any wonder there's a lot of burnout?
yeah.
Anyway, so this has been a very, very exciting hour. Thank you so much for sharing your app, Ben and Nicholei. How do you say that? Nico.
Well, yeah,
Really,
thank
really
you for
appreciate
having
it.
us, and I hope you got something out from it or just inspired to take action. So yeah, hope to
Yes,
see you.
healthcare heroes, we will collaborate, okay?
Yes. Let's start something.
All right, everyone. You all have a good night. Remember to sleep good tonight. Don't let this inspiration get into your head and prevent you from sleeping, okay?
Or just document it. I know.
Yeah, document and then go to sleep.
We're gonna build an app overnight, just like Nicholei. Overnight, no, in 10 minutes. It's got to be 10 minutes.
And then you will get addicted to building apps.
Build 10 apps overnight.
All right, everyone.
Yay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Nico and Ben.
Bye.
Bye-bye.